What if you knew exactly what to do before your anxiety kicked in? I'm talking about those moments where you're super stressed. Something's happening with you, around you, with someone else, a situation, and you feel your emotional state like you're triggered, you're pissed, you're angry, you're nervous, and you're just about to blow, but you know you don't want to. It does not have to be that way. And today on With Karen D, the podcast, I'm going to talk about 5 secret calming tools that you can use in the moment before that anxiety kicks in. Let's get to it. Welcome to With Karen D, the podcast, where we focus on one thing and one thing only: the fact that good things do not come to those who wait. Good things come to those who go out and get it. And today we're going to do a deep dive on secret calming tools, secret calming techniques that you can use in the moment before you blow your top, before you say something you don't want to say, before your anxiety kicks in, or for those occasions where you need to remain calm, you need to maintain your composure, but in the past, you haven't been able to. Now, when you're stressed, your sympathetic nervous system completely dominates. And I mean your fight or flight response. And what happens is when that's triggered, what happens for some people, not all, you have a physiological response. So it might look like sweaty palms, a rapid heart rate. Your breathing starts to get shallow and you can see someone's chest or your chest going up and down. Now, today we're going to talk about how you can disrupt that fight or flight response before it takes over your mind, your body, and your physical responses, because it doesn't have to be that way. But you have to do the work to shift that, and you have to practice. So I want to tell you a little bit more about who I am, what I do, in the case that you haven't watched any other episodes. I'm Karen D, celebrity communication, confidence, and peak performance coach. And some of the work that I do is with a lot of high performers around the world, including celebrities, preparing them for the red carpets, filmmakers, preparing them for panels. I do media training as well for professional athletes. I work with C-suite executives. I also work with politicians. And the reason why I want to have this conversation is that some of them who have either had media training or public speaking training, they are privy to tools so they can maintain their composure. So when someone's pissing them off, so for example, I work with politicians often and I prepare them for community consultations or I prepare them for debates. So I just want you to walk with me for a moment. Just picture you being in a conversation, or let's talk about my client for a moment. Them being in a debate, and with a debate, depending on who your opponent is, they're poking holes in you. They're trying to press your buttons. And in those moments, the camera is actually watching you because they're looking for your reactions and your responses. They want to know if you're nervous or you're tense. I am the secret weapon behind a lot of them. I'm the person who trains them on how to stay calm under pressure using strategies, breathing exercises, grounding tools, and techniques. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. I want to pull back the curtains so this information isn't only available to those who are paying for, media training or crisis response training. It should be available to everyone because it is completely doable. Once you know what strategies work for you, then you implement them in those moments where you feel yourself emotionally getting high on your threshold, right? So when we talk about disrupting your fight or flight response, what's happening is this: we want to quickly engage in some type of technique or physical action so you can trick your brain into feeling safe. So I'm going to walk through 5 pretty effective techniques that you can use anywhere. These are 5 out of dozens, but these are the ones that I find work best for my clients, and I hope they work for you too. So what I want you to do is, as I walk through it, try it with me so you know what it feels like and you can actually experience the essence of, does it work for me or not? I want to preface it with this though. Most of these will work for you because it's working on a physiological level. And if you're human, it'll work for you. Got it? So the first one is this. It is the finger grounding gesture. And quick story. I have a client and she's a C-suite executive. And most of the tables that she sits at, they're at the old boys club. So a lot of male executives, senior executives around the table, and they're always questioning her and second guessing her. And she had to learn to manage her emotions in that meeting so she could show up with more confidence, be more concise, and be more clear, and learn how to really shut down people. So what used to happen is when she used to have conversations and people used to interrupt her, she used to get really pissed off. And be honest, she was freaking pissed off. And the conversation we had to have is, you have to learn to calm your emotions because the calmest person in the room is the one who wins. They're watching to see how emotionally unstable you are. And this comes down to knowing what strategies work for you to calm yourself and implementing it. So I want to share this powerful strategy that she uses all the time. And I'll tell you how she used it in a meeting recently. So it's called the finger grounding gesture. And I'm not going to get too much into the science of exactly why and how things work with the prefrontal cortex, the different parts of your brain. I just want you to use this stuff. So learn the technique, use it. Essentially, you're using your index finger, your pointy finger, and your thumb, and you're pressing them together. And when you press them together, that allows you to pretty much breathe really deep from your diaphragm. So once again, when you're stressed, you start to breathe from your chest and your breath gets short. That means that your lungs, your body's not getting enough oxygen. So I want you to simply do this and just breathe. And what automatically happens because you're human is that you will instantly start breathing from your diaphragm. And when you do this gesture, and you can do it in your lap, wherever you are, no one needs to know that you're doing it. It helps to activate your parasympathetic nervous system and it instantly calms your body. Got it? How it works? Do this. Don't worry about the backstory. It takes you from your fight or flight response into that calming, that resting, that relaxing part of your nervous system. So I want you to try it. Put them together and I want you to just breathe and see how you automatically start to breathe from your diaphragm. Now, here's how you can use it in everyday situations. You might be in a conversation where someone is saying something that's highly upsetting, or they're sharing their opinion and they're really, rah, they're like kind of gritty with it, or they're yelling at you and whatnot. And we always want to say, I always teach that you don't want to meet someone's anger with anger, or someone's disrespect with disrespect, or someone's rudeness with rudeness. You can calm yourself in the moment by doing that. You can simply put this gesture in your lap behind your back and calm your emotions so you can respond with utmost confidence and utmost calm. So let me tell you about my client. She was recently at a meeting. She got interrupted by one of the board members who normally interrupts her. How she used to previously respond was to literally yell back at him, and they used to have a yelling match. And the conversation we had and the training we did was around, okay, instead of having your external environment, AKA that other person, control your emotions, I want you to take 100% responsibility for how you respond, not react. Shut down that reaction and choose to respond. And that's a strategy that she uses. She simply, as they're yelling or, claiming all these false claims against either her work or her, she gets to stay calm by simply doing this, listening to what's being said, but she is calming her body in the moment. She is allowing her heart rate to reduce and stop being so rapid and in her chest. Now I'm going to share. This is another micro gesture. It's not one of the 5 I was going to share, but I can't not. So in that same scenario, as someone is really barking at her, she does this, calms her nervous system, engages her parasympathetic nervous system. And when she's ready to respond, she needs to be hyper-focused and alert. Now, that's when you want to start breathing in your chest to increase your focus in the situation. You simply do this. You use your ring finger and your thumb. I want you to do it right now. Pull those together, and I want you to breathe. And I want you to see how your breath is now in your chest. I want you to alternate now. Back to here. calming. All of a sudden, see how your breath kicks in. All of a sudden, you're breathing from your diaphragm. Now flip it. Ring finger and thumb in your chest. So if you want to be alert, you do this. If you need to calm yourself down, you do this. So here's how she uses this tool. When she gets into a situation where she's being confronted, she calms herself, sitting down. No one knows what's happening. When she knows that person is just about to end or she's just about to speak, she flips it, ring finger to thumb. So, which means she's ready. She's ready to deliver. She's ready to confident deliver. And she gets her breathing right in her chest. So that is technique number one. The second one is called the butterfly hug. And what I want you to do here is cross your arms over your chest. You can do it a couple of ways, and I'll show you a few. So when you put your thumbs together and you just rest your hands below your collarbone. This is your collarbone right here, these two bones that run across here. Thumbs together, and you're simply placing it here, and you're alternately tapping your chest, just like this, like the flapping wings of a butterfly, right? Another way you can do it is this. You can just simply cross your shoulders across your chest and slightly tap your shoulders. This stimulation helps you to process stressful energy and really recenter your nervous system. And it will help you bring down any intense emotions that you're experiencing in that exact moment. So this literally calms you. So this one, I say you do this before you go into that meeting where you know the person who's sitting across the table freaking irks you. You do this in the privacy of your cubicle. You might need to go into the washroom. You might need to run to your car, but you can do it before to calm yourself down. Got it? Number 3, I've spoken about this before, but if you haven't watched any of my other podcast videos, you need to do so. Or if you haven't listened to them, you need to do so. And if you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify, make sure to jump to YouTube so you can see the actual techniques that I'm demonstrating as well. So the third one is called the physiological sigh. I absolutely love this technique because it works for everybody. So the physiological sigh is a breathing pattern with 2 quick inhales followed by 1 long extended exhale. And I call it the emergency off switch, right? I call it a whole bunch of different names, but emergency off switch for the body's stress response. So it quickly, it immediately shifts your nervous system from an active and high stress state into a state where you're deeply relaxed and your body's starting to recover. So here's what it looks like. 2 quick inhalations and a long exhale. No one needs to know that you're doing this. Remember what I said? I work with politicians all the time, and this is one of the strategies that they use to prepare themselves if they're in a community consultation and their constituents might be pissed, they might be angry. How do they calm themselves in the moment? So when they respond or they stop getting triggered by what's being said. The other type of clients that use this is I work with professional athletes as well as I prepare celebrities for the red carpet when that microphone's shoved in their face and, the reporter or interviewer is asking a question which they didn't know they were going to ask or they feel unprepared for. They simply do this technique and it calms them down in the moment. So try it with me again. 2 quick inhales through the nose and a long exhale through the mouth. Your mouth only needs to be slightly open. It engages your parasympathetic nervous system. Now let's move on to technique number 4. It's called PMR. It's called, the long form name is progressive muscle relaxation. And here's what I want you to do. It's essentially interrupting your pattern of thought and shifts you from that fight or flight response into that calming and resting state as far as your nervous system. So here's what you're going to do. No one needs to know you're doing it. You're going to tense your toes as hard as possible. Just tense them up. And I want you to hold the tension for about 4 to 5 seconds and then release the tension all at once. I'm going to say it again. You're going to tense your toes. So if you were standing up, you tense your toes in your shoes. Ladies, gentlemen, however you identify, if you are wearing heels, you can tense your toes in your heels as well. So tense it up, tense it. Hold it for 5 seconds. Release the tension all at once. What it does is it breaks your pattern of focus, right? It breaks your pattern of focus so you no longer keep spiraling and get focused in the moment, and you get attentive to the particular moment as well. It How would I say this? It breaks that stress loop. So once we get in a stressful state, our mind starts looping, right? The identification of this stressful situation, our fight or flight response starts to kick in. So what you want to do is literally put something to interrupt it. And that's what PMR does. Tense. And you can also do it with any other part of your body. I love your toes because no one needs to know you're doing it. You can do it with your hands, but depending if you're standing up, you may not want someone to watch you clench your hands and relax it. If you could put your hands behind your back, I would clench your hands into a fist and relax it. Now let's move on to the last one. This is another great one. I have a client that I used to work with, had a client, and she hated speaking publicly. She hated public speaking, especially in front of large groups. She was okay speaking to up to 10 people, but when it moved to anything larger than 10 people, she was a hot mess, straight up hot mess. She was having brownouts, which means she was forgetting what she was going to say next. She would just stall. She would stutter. All of her crutch words like, would fully kick in. This next technique is called scent triggered anchoring. You're quickly sniffing a sharp natural scent. And I often say use something like peppermint or citrus, that menthol smell or eucalyptus smell. And what happens is this, that intense smell, sensory input that goes into your brain, it offers a grounding point for your brain. So it redirects the attention from the internal sensation of I'm feeling stressed towards the external environment. And it immediately, remember I talked about pattern interruption, it immediately interrupts those runaway thoughts, those racing thoughts that are telling you you're nervous, I'm pissed, I'm upset. It calms you in the moment. Client. So all these techniques and strategies that I'm showing you, I want you to watch some of the greatest speakers, right? Whether it's in person or on TV, and see if you can identify any of these techniques or strategies that I've just shared, because many of them use them all of the time. You simply don't know, or you simply didn't know until now. Now, going back to my client who used the scent triggered anchoring technique, what she has a ring, and on the ring is a lava stone, so a black lava stone. And what she does is, for her, the scent of peppermint engages her parasympathetic nervous system. Before her speaking engagements, she'd put on the ring and she'd use a peppermint oil, and she would just put a few dabs on that volcano stone. So a volcano stone, it's a black stone, and it's very porous, so it will hold the liquid, right? It's like an oil, and it will hold the scent. Now, whenever she felt like she was anxious or she was feeling nervous or she was gonna, her thoughts were running away, she'd simply stand like this, like she was in thought. What she was doing in that moment. So I want you to pretend, I'm gonna switch. She wore her volcanic ring. So it's a ring, nothing special, not gold, silver, literally a wire ring with a stone on it, soaked in peppermint. And whenever she was feeling stressed, she literally did this. So that can look at that. You would have no clue that I'm actually sniffing this eucalyptus scent to calm me in the moment. And the way we configured her talks, it looked like she was being intentional with her pauses. Look at that right there. So if I'm talking to you and I decide to pause for a moment, you would have no clue that I'm using this as a calming technique. So scent triggered anchoring is a powerful tool. And that's just one way. I have other people who they'll dab that type of scent. Once again, a natural scent. It has to be sharp. Peppermint, citrus, menthol, eucalyptus. You can put it on your wrist, somewhere where you can like use your hands and use it as a scent. If you want to be able to use it in the moment, you have to put it somewhere where you could people would not know that you're actually doing it. If you're able to do it behind stage before you came out to speak or preparing for a meeting, you might be on a Zoom meeting. You might be able to simply turn off your camera and grab whatever scent. Sometimes you can get it as a roll on and do a quick sniff of it and turn your camera back on. And then all of a sudden you're a brand new person. Use it whatever way works for you. These are simply 5 secret strategies that the greats use all the time, but no one usually has access to. So, as I get ready to close out this episode, I want to remind you of all 5 techniques. The first one is a finger grounding gesture right here, deep breathing. It instantly engages your parasympathetic nervous system. The second one is a butterfly hug. You're simply tapping on your shoulder or your chest right here. The third one is a physiological sigh. 2 quick inhales, 1 long exhale. The fourth one is the PMR exercise, progressive muscle relaxation. I want you to tense those toes, tense those tootsies in your shoes and relax it all together. And the last one is scent triggered anchoring. You're going to use a strong natural scent to help you refocus and engage your parasympathetic nervous system. Now, if you know someone who needs these tools, make sure to share this video. If there's something else you use to calm yourself in the moment, make sure to put it down in the comments. I would love to hear or learn about your strategy, your technique, or whatever exercise you use to calm yourself. Now, if this is something you're fully interested in, make sure you jump back to my YouTube podcast page or find me on Spotify or Apple. And I have another episode called What If You Don't Have Social Anxiety? So I'm going to say it straight up. I challenge the notion of social anxiety. And I just want you to consider that maybe it's not social anxiety. And in that episode, I talk about a possibility. So if you're open to shutting down your social anxiety, I highly encourage you to watch that episode. So the thumbnail, it says, we're going to try if we can put up on the screen. The thumbnail says, what if you don't have social anxiety? All right. That is it for me. Thanks for joining me on this episode of the podcast with Karen D. And I'll see you next time.